You ever notice how some words just pop up everywhere? I was looking through a list of common English phrases the other day, and honestly, it kind of blew my mind when I saw how many of them start with the same tiny two-letter word. Seriously, it's a word that can describe more than 50 different realities, and I think you're going to be just as surprised as I was to see what it can do.
So, how is that even possible? How can one little word be used to talk about being happy, being in debt, or even being in danger? Well, that's exactly what we're going to break down together. Let's get right into it.
Okay, so here it is. It all starts with the word in. Now, the list you're seeing here is from a language learning resource, which is why you see the Turkish translations there. But what's really wild is just how many of these common phrases kick off with in. Each one paints a totally different picture. It's a real linguistic powerhouse.
Now, staring at a long list like that can feel a bit much. So I figure the best way to tackle this is to start looking for patterns. Let's try grouping these phrases by what they're actually describing. So first up, let's look at how the word in helps us talk about our feelings and emotions. Just take a look at these. In a bad temper, in high spirits, in pain, in tears. Each one is such a short, sharp way of describing a really powerful emotional state. It's incredible how these little phrases can pack so much meaning into just a couple of words.
And here's what's really cool. The contrast. You can be in high spirits, feeling amazing and cheerful, but just by swapping one little word, you're suddenly in low spirits or in a bad mood, feeling totally down or irritable. It's a perfect example of how flexible this word in really is.
Let's zoom in on a really powerful one, in pain or in agony. This phrase cuts right to the heart of what it means to experience some serious suffering, whether it's physical or mental. You could say something like, after running the marathon, he was clearly in pain. It's so simple, so direct, and everyone immediately knows exactly what you mean.
All right, so we've seen how in helps us express our feelings, but what about our thoughts? Can that same little word help us build a logical, persuasive argument? Well, let's find out.
These phrases are basically the signposts of communication, you know? In conclusion tells you we're nearing the end, in brief signals a summary, in fact adds some extra punch, and in detail promises you're going to get all the juicy information. They give our conversations and our writing a really clear structure.
So when you use a phrase like in conclusion, you're essentially giving your listener a heads up. It's like saying, okay, listen up, I'm about to wrap this all up and give you the most important takeaway. It's such a handy tool for making sure your point lands clearly. And what about in fact? Oh, this one is a conversational powerhouse. You use it when you want to add a piece of information that's maybe a little surprising or just adds extra emphasis. Like, I thought the movie was good. In fact, it was one of the best I've seen all year. See? It just adds that extra bit of oomph to what you're saying. Okay, for our final group of phrases, let's check out how in can describe the actual situations we find ourselves in. And this is where the variety gets really interesting.
I mean, just look at the range here. You can be in trouble with your boss, in danger from a falling rock, in a hurry to get to a meeting, or in debt to a bank. It's pretty amazing how these simple phrases can instantly explain someone's entire situation in a nutshell.
And this part of the list just drives that point home. We've got everything from being in public, where everyone can see you, to being in captivity, which is, well, the exact opposite. Each one of these phrases creates a little mini story with just a few words. And here's one we probably all use almost every single day. In a hurry. It just means you need to move fast. We've all been there, right? You're on the phone and you have to say, sorry, I can't talk right now. I'm in a hurry to catch my train. It's the perfect, most efficient way to describe a super common situation. So we've looked at all these different ways to use the word in, but I think the real takeaway here isn't just the phrases themselves, but how we've been looking at them. So what was the method we just used in this whole explainer?
And this, for me, is the key. First, instead of just trying to memorize a huge random list, we looked for patterns. Second, we grouped the phrases together by a common theme, like feelings, arguments, or situations. That helps connect all the ideas in your brain. And third, we used each new phrase in a simple sentence. Because context is what really makes it all stick. So after seeing all these possibilities, from expressing our deepest feelings to describing a really tricky situation, I'll leave you with this question. Which in phrase are you going to try and put into practice today?